Timing, Miss Lisa, because it is 6 o'clock on the dot. So welcome and thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Deidre Peterson, and I am the President and CEO of the Shelton Mason County Chamber of Commerce, the oldest and largest business organization in Mason County, representing nearly 400 members and more than 6,000 employees. It's my pleasure to be here tonight, along with John Lester, the publisher of the Shelton Mason County Journal, and Jeff Slakey of KMAS Radio.
Well, thank you, Deidre. Thank you also to each of our candidates. The willingness to serve our community, of course, through public office is no easy task, and we appreciate your commitment to the community and looking forward to hearing from you tonight as we look towards the future.
Tonight's event is being live streamed and recorded thanks to our partners with Hood Canal Communications and MasonWebTV. Also, I'd like to recognize members of the Chamber Government Affairs Committee and the Chamber Board for their help in putting this event together tonight. Before we get to our candidates, I invite you to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
This is MasonWebTV, powered by HCC.
This broadcast on MasonWebTV, powered by HCC, is being made possible by Hood Canal Communications, committed to providing quality services that exceed customer expectations in voice, video, data, and customer service.
We are pleased to bring to you the candidates for the Port of Shelton Commission and the City of Shelton Council. Our format this evening will include hearing an opening statement. Then both candidates for each race will be asked a question prepared by the Chamber's Government Affairs Committee.
For those questions, each candidate will be given 90 seconds to answer the question. Whoever goes first will also be given 30 seconds to respond to his or her opponent.
We'll then ask the candidates questions prepared by their opponent. They will have 90 seconds to answer those as well. The candidate asking the question will have 30 seconds to respond or clarify the question, and the opponent will be given a final 30 seconds to answer.
Lisa Perry, our Government Affairs Chair, is here in the front row and will be signaling our candidates when there's 30 seconds of time, 15 seconds of time remaining, and again when your time has ended. The time limits will be strictly adhered to ensure that we can hear from each of you. And with that, we'll get things started. We are beginning this evening with the Port of Shelton, Dale Elmond and Sue Patterson. Thank you for joining us at the dais.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dale, since you are listed first on the ballot, we will start with you. Please share with us what you believe to be the role of a Port Commissioner, what makes you an ideal candidate, and what specifically inspired you to run. Dale, you have 2 minutes for your opening statement.
Thank you. I was born and raised in Mason County, have known the port as a child. My family has been involved with the port since its inception, clear back right after World War II. My grandfather was a county commissioner and signed the original lease contract for the fairgrounds, the original signer to create the fairgrounds. And thus, my family saw the initial start and finish of the fairgrounds with the port. I have had my whole life as a public servant to state, local community, in federal government, and to local community members. My civic volunteerism has gone all the way from my heart out to each individual to the community. I think a lot of people in this community know all the things that I have committed to, ho ho ho, and the Christmas Town, all the way from Christmas Town, all the way to search and rescue, to law enforcement. And the commitment I have now is a vision to make sure that everyone in the community has an opportunity to benefit from future opportunities that we can enhance through more industry, more business that focuses on employment opportunities at the port. And in that, it's all I have to say right now. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Dale. Sue Patterson, you also will have 2 minutes. Please share with us what you believe to be the role of a Port Commissioner, what makes you an ideal candidate, and what specifically inspired you to run. Your opening statement, please.
Thank you, Deidre. Thank you all for attending. I think the role of a port commissioner is to be a steward of the money that the taxpayers pay on your property tax bill, to be fair, to be honest, to use that money to the best of the port's ability. I also am committed to jobs and employment, and I think that I am the ideal candidate because I have been doing this for 8 years, and I know my way around the port. I know my way around the State Association of Ports. I know my way around the community, because many of you will recognize my face either through Scout Troop 9112, City Parks and Rec Commission Advisory Board, Christmastown Kiwanis. We are now doing the Christmas Parade, which, thank you, Mr. Elmland. 40 and 8 Veterans Club and Turning Point Domestic Violence Center are just a few of the organizations for whom I have volunteered over the years. In my 8 years at the port, I have been the treasurer and have instituted some policies there that have benefited many people. And what inspired me to run is my desire to continue what I think is the good work that all of the commissioners at the port perform at this time.
Thank you. I will now ask the question that we've prepared for you. For this segment, we'll begin with Sue Patterson. After Sue, Dale will also answer. Then after Dale's answer, Sue will have an opportunity to respond. Sue Patterson, in 90 seconds, please answer. The port plays a vital role in our community's infrastructure and trade. How can the port modernize and expand its facilities to ensure they remain competitive and efficient in the evolving market? How will you secure funding for these initiatives? Please be specific.
Well, I wish I knew how to ensure funding. Grant money is a huge carrot and a stick this time of year, this time in our history. Infrastructure is what we need the most, not just at the port, but all over the county. We are not going to draw businesses of any size to port property without having sufficient sewer, water, electric, and roads. And that is something that we have focused on at the port. We are currently in the process of rebuilding a building that burned 2.5 years ago now, and we're just starting the permit process, so it is a long process. But in order to build a building, you have to have the infrastructure, so that's really the focus at the port.
Thank you, Sue. Dale, you will also have 90 seconds to share with us. How do you believe the port can modernize and expand its facilities to ensure they remain competitive and efficient in the evolving market? How can you secure funding for these initiatives? Again, please be specific.
We actually have a couple of opportunities, a couple of entities within our county. One is the Economic Development Council, which Sue is part of. She is a board member that sits in with them. They help us attain funds for part of the infrastructure for building the improvements to leasing facilities and leasing companies to help improve our facilities. But that's usually only to the ones that are already present. To develop unleased buildings that have to still be leased out, we have to have a vision and also reach out to, like she says, grants. And that's part of our office staff responsibilities. So our port manager and their staffing, they have a responsibility to reach out for those grants. We have to do a overall plan for development, a development plan that needs to be not only set in stone, but a 6-month, 1 year, and 3-year plan that needs to be initiated.
Thank you. Sue, would you like to respond? If so, you have 30 seconds.
Thank you. I'd just like to clarify, I am not on the EDC board. That would be the other curly blonde, Christy Buck. So I do not meet with them, although I would be happy to at any time. And I also disagree that they have, oh crap, completely lost it. That they only work with businesses that are already here. They are constantly trying to bring in new business also. And
Thank
my
you.
time is up.
Thank you, Sue. We'll now move on to the questions that the candidates have prepared for each other. The first question has been prepared by Sue for Dale. So Dale, you'll have 90 seconds to answer this one. Sue's first question is, what is your vision for the future of the Port of Shelton?
Thank you. I have a vision that sees a wildland firefighting tanker stationed in the Port of Shelton. We have a helicopter based out of Olympia Airport in case of wildland firefighting needs. Anything beyond that, we have to call for firefighting in Yakima. That is a 45-minute flight to an hour-long flight. If anybody knows our wildland fires, they can spread quickly, very, very quickly. I'd like to see us have a plane, a crew, and a maintenance facility at the Port of Shelton. The next thing is that I would like to see is I'd like to see discussions for a fairgrounds supported by nonprofit organizations, managed, run, and taken care of by nonprofit organizations, managed by them, not by the port, not by the county, developed as a plat and insured by the well-developed nonprofit organizations. Those are only two of the many things that I can foresee coming up. Thank you.
Sue, you have 30 seconds to clarify or respond to any of that if you'd like.
Okay, I love the idea of a fire truck base for wildfires at the port. If it is located on port property legally, it doesn't have to be run by the port, but they would lease or purchase property to do that. Otherwise, I think the fairgrounds is an issue that has been cussed and discussed many years now, and if there is a consortium of nonprofit groups, go for it.
And finally, Dale, if you'd have a follow-up to that and final our communication here on this, 30 seconds.
Yes, when I say fire tanker, we're talking about a plane. We're talking about a fire tanker, 4-engine, prop-driven plane that drops a lot of water or a lot of chemical and is maintained here. They have 7 in Yakima. 1 would be based here for the west side of the state. So that's what I'm looking for. Thank you.
Thank you. Sue, the question Dale has prepared for you is, serving as port representative, what order would you assign the following priorities? A, recreational opportunities. B, lease options that support the tax base.
That supports
The tax base.
lease option that supports the tax base.
And C, industry that provides local employment.
Okay,
Okay, you got the 3? And you have your 90 seconds.
all right. Absolutely, industry that supports local employment would be at the top of the list. We need businesses that have well-paying jobs, that have people who are going to buy homes, whose kids are going to be in school, who can survive on the wages that they make, and businesses that provide a service, a product, or whatever they do that benefits the community and helps the economy expand. I don't want to be Bellevue. I've lived in Bellevue. I don't want to be Bellevue, but we do need help with local industry and local employment. Recreational opportunities, I have no issue with that whatsoever. I have to say that we've had a couple of false starts on that with the commission, and those are things that need to be decided by the commission as a whole, our commitment to them. And I think a walking trail, whatever, would be a great idea. A lease options that supports the tax base. I'm not sure I understand what that means. So I'm going to have to put it at the bottom of the list, I guess.
Okay, thank you, Sue. Dale, you have 30 seconds to clarify.
Yes, when I lease option to support a tax base, those are all of our leasees. Those are all of our businesses that lease our buildings, and they do support a tax base. And rightfully so, they should be in there, but at the bottom. Recreational, we have several businesses, or at least 2 businesses, that provide a recreational support for the community. And we know which ones those are. And then right at the top
Thank you, Dale.
is stop.
Sue, you have 30 seconds to respond if you would like to.
Okay, I guess I'll go back to the lease options that support the tax base. All of the leases that we provide are at fair market value. The tax base, the tax money that we collect every year is a small part of the budget. And the leases that we hold with tenants support in addition to the tax base.
Thank you.
This next question that Sue has prepared for Dale is, do you have any concerns regarding the port, and could I help allay any of those concerns? Again, that's a question from Sue to you.
Could you please repeat?
I would love to. Do you have any concerns regarding the port, and could Sue help allay any of those concerns to you tonight?
Right now, there's several litigations that I have to step away from currently at the port. I might have opinions, but I'm not going to view them. I have to step away from those. I have been my feet on the ground at the port since I was 5 years old, working the grains in the bows, in the cones, as a child, all the way up to I left for the military. So there are many things that need to be done. We have undeveloped property that needs to be cleared and developed, that fire hazard. We have trees that need to be thinned and brushed out. And we have land out on the port that needs to be developed because we have railheads that need to be maintained for future lease options.
Sue, you have 30 seconds to respond to that.
As far as I know, we have one litigation currently active, and it is a lawsuit in the federal courts alleging discrimination against the Port of Shelton, and we will move on with that as it becomes more active. I'm not sure what he means by trees being thinned. The railhead is being maintained.
Dale, you have 30 more seconds here if you'd like to respond again.
Certainly. The trees I'm referring to are on the west side of the property against the State Patrol driving course. The trees need to be thinned and the brush needs to be brought up. That way, in the future, the property can be developed without the danger of a fire hazard between now and then.
Thank you. Sue, the next question Dale has prepared for you is, Sanderson's Field Airport has been listed as the most stable during most all disasters on the Olympic Peninsula and has been designated as a base of operation in case of a geological event. Where would you find the disaster operation directives for the port?
Where would I?
Find the disaster operations directives for the port.
Well, I guess I would go to our executive director. If I'm not sure, again, Dale, what you're talking about. Are you asking where the written word is that sets it out and outlines what the procedures will be, as opposed to where we would set up an emergency response location?
I'll respond with the response
Okay.
time.
Okay. All right. I guess that's all I have to say.
Okay.
Okay. Dale, you have 30 seconds.
Thank you. The disaster preparedness plan is developed by the emergency management team and Camp Murray, and it is kept in the offices of the Sheriff's Department, the City Police Department, the City Planning Department, Port Department, and it is in each office in a white 3-ring binder with individual responsibilities per disaster, and it's annotated on what responsibility there is for that entity.
Thank you, Dale. Sue, you have 30 seconds if you'd like.
Okay. Well, I guess we learn something new every day. It is not the responsibility of the Port Commission to establish those guidelines or follow them. That is why we have staff, and I have every confidence that our staff is on top of it and would willingly and thoroughly put those procedures into place.
Thank you.
Thank you both for fielding those questions, both from the chamber and one another. We'll begin now with closing statements. You'll each have 2 minutes. As Dale Ellman began with his opening statement, this time we'll hear from Sue Patterson first. Sue?
All right. I would like to say again, thank you all for attending. I think that I bring to the Port Commission positivity. I bring an acute understanding of the financial aspects, the Open Public Meetings Act, budgeting and funding processes, public disclosure laws, and I am very proud of the port and the job that we have done in the last few years upholding the integrity of the Port of Shelton. Also, I have helped establish an investment policy for the port and have worked diligently with our executive director and our auditor to build an investment account that currently is paying about $25,000 a month in interest to us. So it's building rapidly, and I'm very proud of that. I also have a commitment to our taxpayers and the responsible management of those tax dollars, and I have thoroughly enjoyed my time on the commission, so I ask you for your vote to continue my work.
Thank you. We'll conclude this portion of the program with Dale Ellman. Dale.
Thank you, Sue, very much. And Sue, thank you for all the hard work you've done.
You're welcome.
And this is business. I'm not saying business as usual. This is business. It is business. And what we need to do is continue on not only with business, but a vision for the future. Not just what we need to do for today. We need to do what we need to do for ourselves, for employment, for the current community, but for our children. Are those businesses going to be around in another 10, 15 years? Are they going to be around in another 30 years for our grandchildren? We have an investment to make not only to our community, but to our families. So don't make decisions necessarily for the moment. Make decisions with forethought. Know what you're doing ahead of time. Think ahead. And that's all I have to say.
Well, thank you very much, Dale. We appreciate both of you for sharing your views and your platform with us this evening. A big thank you very much. We'll take a 5-minute break. We're going to prepare for the city council candidates. Everybody, a big hand for the port candidates there.
This is MasonWebTV, powered by HCC.
This broadcast on MasonWebTV, powered by HCC, is being made possible by Hood Canal Communications, committed to providing quality services that exceed customer expectations in voice, video, data, and customer service, keeping our community connected since 1934. Mason County Public Health and Human Services Prevention Education Partners Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition, helping provide prescription drug take-back boxes in Mason County and providing lockable bags for your prescription drugs, cannabis, and vape products. Mason County PUD 3, connecting our community with safe, reliable, economical, and sustainable services 24/7. The Conklin team at Windermere Real Estate. When it comes to real estate, nothing compares to local knowledge. And Mason Health, united community, empowered people, exceptional health.
My kids look at. Oh no.
Hope we don't get that far.
Yeah, we ain't gonna be here that long. We're gonna cut this short and sweet.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Yeah, I don't think I got that much breath in me.
Rambling after.
Yeah, after a minute.
All right, everybody, as we move on to the city council races, we are joined up here by two gentlemen, Mark Frazier, candidate for seat number 5, and George Blush for seat number 4 in the city of Shelton. Tom Gilmore did not respond to our invitation on tonight's event, and Tristan Smith was unfortunately unable to attend as well. So we are going to provide these two gentlemen, again, running for different seats, an opportunity, no questions, but statements for them. And we're going to start with Mark Frazier, who again is a candidate for seat 5 for the city of Shelton.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. As you said, my name is Mark Frazier. I'm running for City Council, seat 5. I'll give a little background about myself. Born and raised here in Shelton. Lived my entire life in the greater Mason County, and I've been a homeowner in Shelton for the past almost 18 years. I'm a lieutenant paramedic with Central Mason Fire and EMS, and I've been providing emergency services to City of Shelton and Mason County for a little over 20 years now. I'm ready for City Council. I know it sounds cliche, but I want to be the change. I'm seeing the things that the city is going through right now, and I've seen some of the decisions that we've made in the past. I want to be part of that, and I want to make sure that we are taking care of the future. The role of City Council is not just here and now, but again, I heard the phrase earlier, being a steward of the finances, a steward of our future, and making sure that decisions that are made now aren't negatively affecting us in 5, 10, or 15 years. So. My goal as a council member is to be open, to be honest, to be available to the city of Shelton and its taxpayers, and again, just to be helpful and be here for our future.
Thank you, Mark. Again, Mark is running for seat 5. George Blush now in the seat 4 slot. George, go ahead.
Thanks, Jeff. Hi, everybody. My name is George Blush, and I'm running for Shelton City Council, seat number 1. I am a proud, happily married father of a bunch of great kids who are all sitting in the back of the room right here today smiling at me. My wife works for the Mason County Sheriff's Office. I am the chairman of the Mason County Housing Authority. I'm on the board of directors for Crossroads Housing, and I run Nita's Coffee Shop downtown Shelton, where we also have 5XL Shelton Pet Food Bank that we get pet food for seniors and low-income families here in Mason County. I'm a big part of downtown Shelton. Every day I'm there. I get to hear the problems. I get to hear the good, the bad, the ugly. I know stories that I never want to have to share. I've seen things I never want to have to see. And I'm hoping we can get that cleaned up. And it shouldn't take much. You know, it's not so far gone. You know, we're not Olympia. We're not Seattle. But we want to stop it before it gets there. A few tweaks, some, changes in management, and maybe we can get things back the way we want it to be. Just a couple of years ago, it was a lot nicer place downtown, and lately it's been kind of sad. We just had a guy arrested out in front of my shop today, a woman, and it's becoming all too often and all too big of a problem for all of my neighbors and myself. And I'm ready to get out here and get some boots to the ground and start making some changes and getting some things happening. That's it. Thank you.
I'd like to thank both of you for coming up here and sharing your views on the platform with us this evening. Again, we've got Mark for seat 5 and George for seat 4 that we want to end up doing. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
We'll now take a few-minute break to set up for the next and final race.
All right, welcome back to our final segment of this evening's program. We're here with Melissa Stearns and Kathleen McDowell, both candidates for seat 2. Melissa, since you are listed first on the ballot, we will start with you. If you would please share with us what you believe to be the role of a city council member, what makes you an ideal candidate, and what specifically inspired you to run?
My name is Melissa Stearns. Role of a city council member to be a voice for our community. It is time for some changes and to work together and make safety and cleaning up downtown and making it safe again priority. We've got to look at policies, work with other elected officials and the mayor to make things happen, but to be a voice for the community and make this a place that people want to stay. I think I'm an ideal candidate. I've been here my entire life, third-generation resident. Spent about 5 years living in the county. Other than that, I have lived in the city my entire life. I have been a local realtor for 20 years here, and with that have been on the board of directors for, 10 plus years, president twice, and several other roles as well. Policy and procedures chair, scholarships, several different roles with that. I've got 3 kids, 2 teenagers and a toddler, and I think I decided to run because it's time to see some change, and I want this to be a place that they want to stay. Having them walking around town and just seeing what is going on, like George said, all too frequently, it's time. We've got to clean up and make some changes.
Thank you, Melissa. Kathleen McDowell, you also have 2 minutes. Please share with us what you believe to be the role of a city council member, what makes you an ideal candidate, and what specifically inspired you to run. Your opening statement, please.
Well, my role, you hear me without this? Do I need to sit down? Okay. Right. Thank you, dear. Role of council person. The role of the council is to make policy and budget, balance our budget each year. Very important things. If we don't have a balanced budget and we're running low on funds, we can't get the projects done that we need to get done. I'm an ideal candidate. I have lived here all my life. I love Shelton. I have been on the council this is my 8th year, and I've seen a lot of wonderful change in Shelton. Lots of projects we've done. We've accomplished quite a bit. One is I'll tell that one later, but I'm an ideal candidate for that position. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. I will now ask the questions that we have prepared for you. For this segment, we'll begin with Kathleen McDowell, and then after Kathy, Melissa will also answer. After Melissa's answer, Kathy will have an opportunity to respond. So Kathy, in 90 seconds, please answer. How familiar are you with the current water storage capacity constraints facing our city? And what solutions or strategies would you consider to ensure a sustainable and reliable water supply for our existing community and its anticipated growth? Please be specific.
Okay, could you repeat the first part?
Of course. How familiar are you with the current water storage capacity constraints facing our city? And what solutions or strategies would you consider to ensure a sustainable and reliable water supply for our existing community and its anticipated growth?
Well, we have water, we have no storage. So we are looking at getting some storage for our water. If we don't have any storage for our water and we don't have enough for the neighborhoods, we do not have enough for projects, housing developers to come in, and we need storage very badly. We have the water. And what was the second part?
What solutions or strategies would you consider to ensure a sustainable and reliable water supply for the existing community and its anticipated growth?
Well, we need to go out, we need to get some money so that we can build the water storage tanks. and that would be sustainability for the city of Shelton. I'm thinking of these different communities that have burned because they don't have the water storage, so that they can't get the water out there to stop the fires. So.
Thank you, Kathleen. Melissa Stearns, you will also have 90 seconds to share with us how familiar are you with the current water storage capacity constraints facing our city, and what solutions or strategies would you consider to ensure a sustainable and reliable water supply for our existing community and its anticipated growth? Again, please be specific.
How current am I? I have been listening in on the city council meetings. I guess surface level, I am aware that this is an issue. I'm not going to pretend that I know a whole lot more details than what Kathy has just said, because I don't. I know that it is an issue that we need to address, but I'm sorry. I don't know more on that.
And Kathy, would you like to respond? If so, you have an additional 30 seconds.
Thank you, Melissa. No response to that. It's good to, as we're coming up to run as a council person, to be up on those issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we move into the questions that the candidates have prepared for one another. This first question has been prepared by Melissa for Kathleen. So Kathleen, you'll have 90 seconds to answer. Melissa's first question is, what have you accomplished on the city council that you're most proud of?
Oh my gosh. I am most proud of our beautiful parking lot and pickleball court. We needed, it was back in 2015 that the Visioning Commission formed, and one of the things they wanted was some sort of downtown basketball court, tennis courts, whatever the community could use. And so, of course, when it came to shove, there's always not enough money for these projects, so it kind of died. Our Lions Club came together and discussed doing a pickleball basketball court downtown. We're going to have the parking lot paved, and we raised on GoFundMe and private organizations and public, we raised $9,000 for that project, and it's always being used. So that is probably the one I'm most proud of.
Melissa, would you like to follow up on that at all?
I think it's great to see that downtown, and no, good work on that. Thanks. Yeah.
Kathy, anything more?
Nope, that's it. Well, there's other projects too, but that was the main one.
Melissa, the question Kathleen has prepared for you is, what are your thoughts on the city abatement program and how it addresses derelict buildings? You have 90 seconds to answer.
Would you repeat that one more time? I'm sorry.
Certainly. What are your thoughts on the city's abatement program and how it addresses derelict buildings?
Well, I don't know that policy in and out. I do know that going downtown, I'm seeing a lot of buildings and structures that definitely appear that something needs to be done with them. I would say that is something that probably needs to be addressed and looked at, so that we aren't looking at these structures and buildings downtown, and burnt down houses and abandoned buildings that have been sitting there for quite some time.
Okay. Kathleen, you have 30 seconds to clarify or respond if you would like.
Well, our abatement program we had a while back, and of course everything always takes money to do that. But we're looking at, for instance, the one out on Railroad Avenue needs to be cleaned up. But there's other buildings, and there have been some places where we have abated and cleaned properties up. We have to have the money to do that, but we are looking at putting together a new abatement program for the city.
Thank you.
This next question that Melissa has prepared for Kathleen. How do you plan for the city to help clean up downtown? Again, the question Melissa has prepared for Kathleen. How do you plan for the city to help clean up downtown?
Well, we are working right now to clean it up. If anyone has seen Brewer Park, it is pretty cleared out. The only issue with cleaning up parts of downtown, it goes out to the edges of the city. But work with the council, work with small service organizations, nonprofits to clean up downtown. Encourage people to paint their buildings, freshen them up, fix the sidewalks downtown so people aren't tripping, and just freshening up the downtown area.
Melissa, you have 30 seconds if you want to clarify or respond more.
Yeah, I guess my thought or concern would be, it seems like the past few years it has really gone downhill pretty drastically. And that's great that cleanup is happening, but how did we get to this point so quickly?
I think people just lost sight of down there. And other projects, other things came to the forefront, and we just kind of lost track of what we needed to do downtown.
Thank you, ladies.
Melissa, the next question Kathleen has prepared for you is, trying to balance the budget and fund the necessary projects and services in our city, what would you keep or cut and why? You have 90 seconds.
I think that our police department should probably be looked at. We should maybe have more officers and less overtime for the few that we do have. Paying overtime takes a lot more money than it does to, pay more officers at regular pay. That would be one thing to look at. I'm sorry, we repeat the question again.
Trying to balance the budget and fund
cut or
necessary projects
Okay.
and service our city, what would you keep or cut and
Okay.
why?
Well, like I said, I think that should be looked at, but maybe rather than cutting, I think that a grant writer and looking into that possibility would be a huge asset for our community so that we can get more funds coming in and not have to worry so much about cutting.
Kathleen, you have 30 seconds. if you'd like.
The grant writing is a really good idea, and we've talked about bringing a grant writer in and bringing in more funds. We have one council member that is constantly talking about a grant writer, so that is really good, a good thing to look at. We have to remember with our budget, everything costs money, so we have to look at what is most important and what is not.
Thank you. Melissa, would you like to respond again?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you both for fielding those questions from the chamber and from one another. It's now time for closing statements, and you'll each have 2 minutes. Since Melissa began with her opening statement, we'll hear first from Kathleen this evening. Kathleen, your closing statement, please.
Okay. I'm thankful for all that came tonight and to listen to us and our ideas for future council. Thank you very much. I grew up here in Shelton. I love this city, and I've put 8 years in on it. So far, I have a few more projects that I'd like to do that I'm not quite done with yet. So I'm hoping that people will vote for me. Thank you.
Okay, and now our closing statement from our final candidate this evening, Melissa Stearns.
Thank you. As I mentioned previously, this is home to me. I have been here my whole life, and I want this to be a place that I want my kids to stay, and that they want to stay. My priority is definitely would be to cleaning up downtown and bringing back a sense of, I guess, safety and security down there, and wanting to keep our businesses, but draw more businesses in and make it a better place for community members to want to spend time in, and to a place where they want to be. That is definitely a priority to me. Like I mentioned previously, I've got 20 years experience as a local realtor here. I am invested in the community board of directors and being president twice. Honestly, it's been kind of devastating to see town deteriorate the past few years, and I'd like to see us work towards bringing things back up to par down there. So, thank you.
Again, thank you both for sharing your views and your platforms with us this evening. The best of luck.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us, both in person and online. We appreciate each of the candidates this evening for joining us and for their willingness to serve our community. Before we close this program, I also wish to thank the Chamber's Government Affairs Committee and my co-hosts, John Lester from the Shelton Mason County Journal and Jeff Slakey of KMAS Radio. And to MasonWebTV, powered by Hood Canal Communications, for live streaming tonight's event.
Please look in next week's Journal for some additional coverage.
And Election Day is coming up November 7th, so please cast your vote.
Drive safe. Thank you.
This broadcast on MasonWebTV, powered by HCC, was made possible by Hood Canal Communications, committed to providing quality services that exceed customer expectations in voice, video, data, and customer service, keeping our community connected since 1934. Mason County Public Health and Human Services Prevention Education Partners Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition, helping provide prescription drug take-back boxes in Mason County and providing lockable bags for your prescription drugs, cannabis, and vape products. Mason County PUD 3, connecting our community with safe, reliable, economical, and sustainable services 24/7. The Conklin team at Windermere Real Estate. When it comes to real estate, nothing compares to local knowledge. And Mason Health, united community, empowered people, exceptional health.
Thanks for watching Mason Web TV, powered by HCC.